Hey guys, Eric Cogorno here with Performance Golf. In today's video, we have one of the most important moves to get through the golf ball, to compress your irons and hit your driver solid day in and day out. And that's the ability to get your trail shoulder through the ball correctly. Now watch this, if I demonstrate the correct trail shoulder motion versus the poor one, how much that affects my ability to get to a good impact, okay? Now I've got a 7-iron here. If I make my backswing, where my trail shoulder obviously works up and back away from the golf ball, if I had theoretically no forward motion with my trail shoulder, if it got stuck back here, which I see a lot, the only way for me to get to the golf ball is to really early release my right arm and my right wrist. This is what a lot of amateur golfers look like at impact from the down the line angle that I see. No rotation, early release, probably stood up a little bit, right? Contact issues. If you go play golf and you're very inconsistent from one day to the next, very likely this is a big reason. So if the shoulder stays back, I have to early release to get to the golf ball. Now, if that's true, that also means the opposite's true. If I am able to get my trail shoulder to work forward, watch the difference here. As I transport my shoulder forward, what's happening to my arms and hands? They're also going forward, right? So if I look at me at an impact with an iron and we pull up like a good ball striker, let's say Adam Scott, you'd notice a look more like this, right? The handle's nice and forward, my body's turned and rotated, and I'm able to get that good shaft lean because I was able to get my shoulder forward. Shoulder forward allows the hands to get forward, solid contact. Shoulder back, hands back, poor contact. Now, when I'm getting my shoulder forward, and I'm going to show you how to do this with a couple part drill that I like to use that really helped a recent student that I worked with. Conceptually speaking, to feel it, I'm going to give you a simple version and then we'll go into it. But as a checkpoint, I've got this club in line with the golf ball from face on. Now, what's really important that I'm always looking for with my students, and you'll see in any good ball striker, we'll put someone on the screen here, maybe Adam Scott again, is the ability to get the trail shoulder to the golf ball line by the time the arms are roughly parallel on the way through. That's how you've known you've done it correctly. The shoulder in line with the golf ball from this angle, not behind it, in line with it, by the time the arms are parallel to the ground. All right, guys, quick break from today's video. Look, if you want to make massive improvements with your game and actually get way better in 2025, you got to do something different than you've done before. And one of those things that I highly recommend is checking out these 2-day schools that my friends at Performance Golf are hosting. These are with the best coaches in the world, people you see me in videos with all the time, like Martin Chuck, Andrew Rice, Eric Larkin, many more of the top coaches at awesome places all around the United States. We're seeing great results with these schools because what we're able to do when we see you in person is really find and fix the main root issue. Most all of us have like 4 or 5 things wrong with our swing. You can't do them all at one time, but you can find and fix the main one thing, which we can do in person like that. We're able to make massive improvements. I'm talking like maybe 2 years of improvements in only 2 days. So if you're looking for something to really fast track your improvement, this could be the thing that could take you to the next level. We'll put a link in the description down below. Check it out, see if there's a spot available in a location that works for you. And so from an overall feel perspective, I like, and I would like you to do this, just have a little club on the ground in line with the ball. That should be kind of roughly up your left eye, left ear. And let's make some little swings where you make sure your shoulder gets to and through that line by the time the arms are parallel to the ground. So I'm just gonna hit a little 3/4 one with that. Very simple thought to start with. Right shoulder past the ball, right by arms parallel. And there's a really nice struck 7. Notice how forward my shoulder is. If my shoulder stays back, no way I can get that compression. Now, from a feel perspective, before we dive into the drill that I like to do, I like to start simple, right, with a little club across the shoulders. You may or may not have seen this before, but a simple way to start this, if I put my club across the shoulders, important to have the club head on the right side of your body. Notice I've got the end of the grip on my left shoulder. I've got the club head all the way to the right. Now, when I bend over in posture, like people ask me, Eric, how do I feel this? Like, how do I know if I've done it enough? Well, when I come down and through, I want to feel like I get that club head literally behind the ball. So you won't be able to see this, but from the player point of view, when you try this drill yourself, I'm going to close my left eye and look through my dominant right eye, and the club head literally looks like it's right behind the golf ball. That helps me with the forward part of the shoulder, right? But also from the down the line angle, my shoulder not only moves forward towards the target, it also moves down some, right? My shoulder also moves down. And so from here, again, I'm trying to see the club head right behind the golf ball. You feel a little right shoulder down and forward, little right side crunch. That's what we want to do. Now, just to clarify that, right, we've got the two moves of the shoulder. The shoulder definitely moves forward. We've gone over that. But it also needs to work down, like I mentioned, right? Now, the down part of the shoulder, does two things for us. The shoulder going down helps swing the club from inside, right? And it helps shallow out the angle of attack, so I don't take big steep divots. The forward part helps move that low point forward, right? So I can get my hands forward, hit ball first, ground second. So if you're someone who hits like pulls and fades, you probably want to feel more of the down part to help swing from inside as it goes forward. You got to go forward, right? But you might feel more of the down part. If you need help with the contact, hidden behind the ball, fats and thins, you probably want to focus more on the forward part. Now, as I'm doing this drill, notice I'm starting this, my feet are very square to the target. So I can feel this to the ball, feel this to the ball. But what I like to have my students do is take it a step farther. And how we take it a step farther, no pun intended, is by literally taking a step back, okay? So if I got my, let's say, square stance, this we'll call like level 1. Good way to do it. Get the shoulder forward. But if I really wanted to feel it a little more, I would go into what I call level 2, which is now my trail foot is even with about the middle of my lead foot. Now, the reason this works is because when I pull my foot back, that's going to close my hips a little. So the more closed my hips are, I've got to feel even more of the right shoulder forward just to get back to the golf ball line. So it's a really good way to exaggerate the feel. So what I say is, okay, foot back a little, club across, feel the right shoulder to the ball. Right shoulder to the ball. To the ball meaning from face on, I'm getting even with it, right? The shoulder's working down and forward. And now I'm going to hit, same sort of three-quarter swing. I've got the feel down and forward. I want to get even with the ball by arms parallel, but I'm going to pull the foot back so it's even with the middle part of my right foot. Now I've got to really feel like I turn my shoulders against my hips to exaggerate even more. Foot's pulled slightly back, right shoulder gets forward of the ball line. And there's a really solid, probably about a, maybe a 5 to 10 yard draw, 20 feet left of my target, very solid. I would take that all the time, hit ball first and ground second. And I could feel in that one, right, compared to the square stance, and you'll feel this as well, it's like, oh wow, I have to feel like I exaggerate that shoulder forward even more just to get to that same checkpoint. This, we'll call this level 2, toes in line with the middle of the foot. That's probably a pretty good place to live, right? Like this is probably a good difficulty level. But if you're like some of my students, you want to take it to another level and make it a little more difficult, kind of the final stage of this would be you pull the right foot back even more to the point where the toes are now more in line with like the back of the lead foot. So this is quite a bit closed. And I learned these drills first from Steve Saracki and Andy Plummer, and they work really, really well. They like to do it with the foot way back like this. Okay, so same feels. The foot is way back, the shoulder down and forward. Now you should really feel the shoulders working against the hips and getting that shoulder forward. How far forward? In line with the ball by arms parallel, right? In line with the ball by arms parallel. So normal setup, we're gonna pull the right foot back where the toes are about in line with the back of the foot. So now my lower body feels quite closed. I've got to feel the shoulder work forward even more. Same feeling, down and forward. And there's a really solid 7-iron as well. So I really felt like I had to get my body turning against my lower body for the sake of the drill. So depending upon where you're at, you might need to feel one or the other more. But in terms of solidness of contact, imagining this club is almost like a wall. This is what I do on the course. I imagine this club is like a wall, and I'm getting my shoulder to break through that wall. Now, as my shoulder breaks through the wall, two little caveats. One I already mentioned from the down the line. When my shoulder goes forward from this angle, it stays down. So that keeps my body tilted over, right? Keeps my inclination to the ground. I don't want to go shoulder, high right shoulder forward like I'm hitting a tennis shot like this. Now I'm too far from the ground, fats and thins, shoulder stays down. Okay, the second caveat from face on, and I might go a little forward because I'm exaggerating to show you, but essentially we want to have the shoulder go forward. We want the shoulder to stay down, but we also want the head to stay relatively back. Okay, meaning I'm not going like this. My shoulder, like, Eric, my shoulder's forward. Well, yeah, but your head's so far forward, the chest is down. This ain't it. I want to have the shoulder, and we'll show Adam Scott again. The shoulder goes forward, but the head stays back. So if I go back to a normal stance, one last hit here, the shoulder goes which way? Forward, right? But as it goes forward, it stays down, the head stays back. Awesome. And so those are the checkpoints that I'm looking to hit. We're looking to hit the ball reasonably solid from there, right? Solid contact, high shots. Those are the variables you want to play with. Give this one a shot if you want more consistency with your irons. If you enjoyed this video, if it provided you value, consider subscribing down below, clicking that like button. Appreciate you guys watching.